Hey everyone, Ben here, wondering why with so many sim racing titles out there, virtually none of them make for good video games. They're rich with features but very often hamstrung by poor user interface, cumbersome calibration, as well as lacking in things to do and tangible ways to progress. Now, I'm not a video game developer, so the reality is I'm ignorant to the challenges that they all face, but I am an end user of sim racing titles, software and products, and my feeling is it shouldn't be this way. Let me explain. The first thing I think many new sim racers will notice when picking up a title for the first time is how bad the initial user experience tends to be. Very few sim titles have anything resembling a tutorial, much less a clear and structured way to get into the sim itself. You tend to be dropped into a series of clunky or complex menus and left to figure it all out. Getting your wheel and pedals to work can be a real pain, as in some cases can just setting up a basic race. It seems almost no time or investment is made in making these first few hours in a title a positive and rewarding experience, and first impressions do count. Most of us will end up searching on YouTube for help at some stage, but should this really be necessary? I think this could be really easily resolved. Plenty of other video game titles in other genres have long perfected tutorials. At a minimum, a basic introduction to the title, the game modes on offer, and a straightforward calibration wizard for controls, and perhaps even a choreographed first race event with engineer briefing would do wonders in a number of titles. And speaking of doing wonders, if you're enjoying this video, you'd do wonders for my ambition to hit 10,000 subscribers for Broca Sim Racing if you'd hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future content. And that's it, I promise, the one cheesy channel promotion plug in this video. Now, even when you've overcome those difficult initial hours in a sim title, most sim racers will reach a point where they begin to struggle for things to actually do in the game, beyond the driving itself. Non-existent or lackluster career modes, poor quality AI, and very limited structured online racing blight the majority of sim racing titles. Even the trappings of seasons, license class and rating progression that iRacing features are in many ways something of an illusion. All of these systems can be exploited or ignored, and championship standings don't really mean that much to the vast majority of players. In truth, these shortcomings may be trickier for development teams to resolve, depending on the resources that they have available to them. For example, I'm sure developing convincing AI behaviour underpinned by a complex physics engine is not straightforward, especially if you're doing so across a wide range of car models and circuits and in dynamic racing conditions. Nevertheless, it is interesting that both AMS2 and iRacing have committed to some kind of single player career offering, and of course Motorsport Games' acquisition of Studio 397 brought the tantalising prospect of officially licensed games underpinned by the sophisticated R Factor 2 simulation engine. Of course, that promise has yet to be fully realised, and it may never be. But Ben, I hear you cry, hold on one second. The progression in a sim title is best represented by gaining speed and reducing your lap times, by improving your results and clawing your way onto the virtual podium. Excellent, so which title comes armed with great tools to help you do that? An intelligent engineer to help you with setup work, telemetry tools to help you analyse your lap times, well-presented race information like track temperatures, weather forecasts and other items that could help inform your race strategy. A reward system that incentivises you to work away at your best lap times or achieve better racing results. Honestly, I can't think of one. Instead, you tend to have to rely on buying and downloading third-party apps to help you with the vast majority of this in most titles. Now, I absolutely love the wider third-party economy that has grown up around sim racing. Crew Chief, the overlays of RaceLab apps, and the array of custom setup shops all do a great job of giving us a better sim racing experience, and all credit to the people who pour their time and energy into them. But let's be honest, they're all plugging fundamental gaps in our sim racing titles that should not be there. All of these issues sit at the heart of why I think new content has become absolutely pivotal to retaining interest in a sim title, because it's one of the few things which gives players a reason to keep returning to the game beyond the act of driving itself. But this also comes with a significant downside. Sim titles often become cluttered with content, usually to differing standards of quality, some more supported with racing than others, and ultimately each adding to a potential sense of confusion for the average sim racer over what to buy. More transparent content delivery plans and schedules would help massively here, accepting that in a world of licensing it won't always be easy for development teams to do so. But so would clearer in-game structures and game modes to organise content around. iRacing probably comes closest to achieving this with its seasonal release of new content and its class progression systems, but even then, the masses of content available has started to cannibalise itself, meaning splits can be smaller and new content can bomb pretty quickly. All of this would be bad enough, but when the underlying physics and core features of the driving model of all of these titles are also constantly being updated and reworked, it can feel like sim racing titles are forever unfinished. Worse still, if you're not a keen reader of patch notes or viewer of YouTube channels, you can completely miss crucial changes to the core physics. Of course, some titles are more guilty of this than others, and it's not like the tendency to release games in an unfinished state isn't common across other video game genres today. If the other factors in this video were addressed, this one probably wouldn't matter as much. I think as a community, sim racers accept that it's only through iterative improvements that sim titles can get closer to the reality that they're trying to emulate. We want our sim titles to keep on improving and striving for more realism. My sense is it only becomes frustrating when so much else in a title feels missing or in need of attention too. Now, long-time viewers of the channel will know I love sim racing. I spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about it, writing about it, making videos about it, and even occasionally getting to do some racing as well. But recently I've found myself loving it despite itself. If it's ever going to break out of being a niche hobby, more time and attention will be needed on the user experience itself, and bringing more meaningful and engaging gameplay experiences into our favourite titles. There is so much promise in the plans developers have for existing titles and for those on the horizon. So here's hoping that that potential is realised, and I'll see you on the next one.